Imagine walking into a room. Everyone is talking, laughing, connecting, and you're standing alone, thinking about whether you should say something or just stay quiet.
But what if you didn't have to stand alone? What if you could walk into any room and start a conversation? What if talking to anyone felt easy?
Today, we are going to teach you how, because talking isn't magic, it's a skill, and skills can be learned.
Welcome to Talk, Learn, Teach. I'm Marcus.
And I'm Sophia. We're so glad you're here.
Whether you're learning English or just want to feel more confident when you talk, this episode is for you.
And before we dive in, please subscribe to our channel, Talk, Learn, Teach. Hit that subscribe button, share this episode with someone who needs it.
Your friend might be waiting for exactly this message. They might need to hear that they can talk to anyone.
And please leave a comment. Tell us your story. What makes conversation hard for you? What do you want to improve?
We read every comment, every single one, and we're excited to hear from you.
Now, let's talk about talking.
Marcus, I want to start with something real, something honest.
Okay.
Do you remember the last time you wanted to say something, but you didn't?
Oh, absolutely. It happens to me all the time.
What happened? What stopped you?
Fear. I was afraid of saying something stupid. I was afraid of being judged. I was afraid they'd think I was boring.
That fear is so real.
It is, and when that fear shows up, my brain just shuts down. I don't say anything. I stay quiet.
But here's the thing I learned. That fear, it's a liar.
A liar?
Yes, it tells you that people are judging you, that they think you're not smart, that your English isn't good enough.
But that's not true?
It's almost never true. Most people are too worried about themselves to judge you.
They're thinking about what they look like, what they sound like.
Exactly. They're not sitting there thinking, this person's English isn't perfect. They're thinking, I hope my hair looks okay.
That's actually a relief.
It is, because it means you don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up.
So the problem isn't really other people. The problem is what we tell ourselves about other people.
That's exactly right. And that's where the change begins.
If the problem is in my mind, how do I fix it?
By noticing it first.
Noticing what?
The stories you tell yourself, the negative thoughts. Notice them without judgment.
And then what?
Then you ask, is this true? Really true?
You mean question the fear?
Question it, challenge it, because most of the time it's not based on reality. It's based on your imagination.
So I'm making up the problem?
Not making it up, but giving it more power than it deserves. Your imagination is strong, but it's creating danger where there is none.
There's no real danger in talking to someone.
No real danger. The worst thing that could happen, they don't respond well. And then you move on with your life.
That's it?
That's it. You live, you learn, you try again.
Okay, so the first step is to notice my fear. Question it. Realize it's not real.
Exactly. And once you do that, you realize something.
What?
You realize you have permission to talk, permission to be imperfect, permission to be human.
I like that.
Everyone does, because everyone is imperfect, everyone is human, and everyone deserves to be heard.
Okay, but knowing this and actually doing it, those are two different things.
They absolutely are.
So how do I actually take the first step? How do I actually start a conversation?
You start small.
Small how?
You don't need a long speech. You don't need the perfect words. You need one simple sentence.
One sentence?
That's it.
One sentence.
That's it. But what sentence? I never know what to say. That's because you're looking too hard. You're trying to be clever. But the best sentences are the simplest ones. If you want to start a conversation, look around you. What do you see? What's happening right now?
I don't understand.
Let me give you an example. You're in a coffee shop. It's very crowded. You could say to the person next to you, wow, it's busy today.
Oh, that's actually simple.
Right? And suddenly, you've started a conversation. You've shown that you're human, that you're noticing the same thing they're noticing.
We're connected by something we both see.
Exactly. You don't need to be clever. You need to be observant.
So I could say anything about what's happening around me.
Almost anything. This coffee smells good. I love your shirt. Have you been here before? These are all great starts.
These are so easy.
They are, because they're real. They're honest. They're about something you both experience in that moment.
Okay, so I start the conversation with something simple, and then what?
This is the important part. Then you listen.
That's it?
That's really it. Most people are waiting for their turn to talk. They're not actually listening.
Yeah, I do that. I'm thinking about what I'll say next.
Exactly. And the person feels it. They know you're not really there.
So I'm actually making the conversation worse?
Yes, but here's the good news. When you actually listen, something magical happens.
What?
The conversation flows. The person opens up. They share more. They enjoy talking to you.
Why?
Because listening is rare. Real listening. People feel seen when you truly listen to them.
So I listen more than I talk?
Listen more. Ask questions. Let them share. Your job isn't to be entertaining. Your job is to be interested.
I need to be genuinely interested in what they're saying.
Yes, and here's the beautiful part. When you're genuinely interested, you don't run out of things to talk about.
Why not?
Because they're doing most of the talking. You're just asking them to tell you more.
That's actually perfect.
It is, and it works for every conversation. Strangers, acquaintances, friends, people love talking about themselves. You're just giving them permission.
Are there other techniques, ways to make the conversation better?
Absolutely. There are some tricks that work really well.
Tell me.
The first one is called mirroring.
Mirroring. What's that?
It's simple. You repeat back what they said, using your own words.
Can you give me an example?
Of course. They say, I just came back from a trip to Brazil.
You say, "Oh, you went to Brazil. That must have been amazing. How long did you stay?" So I'm showing I was listening, and I'm asking them to say more.
Exactly. And they feel heard. They feel like you care.
That's simple but powerful.
It is. And there's another technique.
What?
It's called the why question.
Instead of just nodding, ask why? Why did you do that? Why did you feel that way? Why was that important to you? That makes the conversation deeper.
Much deeper, and people appreciate it because it shows you want to understand them, not just know what they did.
I want to understand their story, their feelings.
Yes, and when people feel understood, they want to keep talking to you.
So listening isn't just about being quiet, it's about being curious.
Exactly. Curiosity is the best tool for conversation.
Seriously, Marcus, what if it doesn't work? What if I try and the person seems uninterested?
That happens sometimes.
It does?
Yes, and that's okay.
It is?
It is. Not every conversation works. Not every person wants to talk, and that's not your fault.
Really?
Really. You did your part. You tried. You were friendly. You were interested.
So I'm not a bad person if they don't want to chat.
No, you're actually very brave. You tried.
So what do I do when I realize they're not interested?
You give them space. You say something simple like, well, nice to meet you, and you move on.
No big deal, no embarrassment.
No big deal. You tried. That's what matters.
And maybe next time, with someone else, it will go differently.
It will. Because some people are open, some people are not. And that's about them, not about you.
So I don't take it personally.
Don't take it personally. See every conversation as practice, as a chance to improve.
Okay, I can do that.
You can. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
You know what would help me? Having some topics ready.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Curious, what kinds of topics are safe? What can I talk about with anyone?
There's some universal topics, topics almost everyone enjoys.
Like what?
Food, travel, entertainment, work, hobbies, weekend plans.
Those are safe.
They are. And the beautiful thing about these topics, you can make them simple or deep, depending on the person.
Curious, what do you mean?
With a stranger, you might ask, have you eaten here before? With a friend, you might ask, how's your family doing?
Same topic, different depth.
Exactly. And you decide the depth based on how well you know them.
So I adapt to the situation.
Yes. And here's a trick. Have a question ready for each topic.
Can you give me examples?
Food. What's your favorite restaurant around here? Travel. Have you been anywhere interesting recently? Work. What do you do for work? Entertainment. What shows are you watching lately?
These are so easy to remember.
They are, and when you have them ready, you don't panic. You know what to say.
Confidently, so I'm prepared but not robotic.
Exactly. You're prepared, but it still feels natural.
Curious, but how do I know who to talk to? How do I choose the right person?
That's a good question. Look for someone who seems open, someone who's not wearing headphones or staring at their phone. Look for someone who's smiling, someone who seems relaxed.
Someone who looks approachable.
Yes, avoid someone who looks angry, rushed, or closed off.
So I'm reading their body language.
Exactly. And here's the thing, even if you misread them, it's okay.
Surprising it is?
Yes, you try, they say they're busy, you say, no problem, and you move on.
No harm done.
No harm done, and you'll get better at reading people over time.
So this is something I improve with practice.
Everything improves with practice. Reading people, starting conversations, listening, all of it.
So I'm not starting as a failure, I'm starting as a beginner.
You're starting as brave.
Seriously, Marcus, let's be honest. I don't feel confident. How do I fake it until I make it?
Actually, I don't think you fake it.
You don't.
No, I think you build it.
How do you build confidence?
Slowly, you do small things that prove to yourself that you can do hard things.
I don't understand.
Warmly, you start small. You talk to someone, it goes okay. Your brain says, oh, I can do this. You do it again, it goes okay again. Your brain gets stronger.
So confidence isn't something I'm born with, I build it.
You build it with every conversation, with every small success.
So I don't wait until I feel confident, I start and then I become confident.
Exactly. It's backwards from what people think. People think once I feel confident, I'll start talking. But really, you start talking and then you feel confident.
That's actually the secret, isn't it?
It really is.
So I just have to do it, even though I'm scared.
Even though you're scared. In fact, being scared means you're doing something brave.
So my fear is a sign I'm on the right path.
Yes, it means you're growing.
Let's talk about real situations. What if I'm at work? How do I talk to my coworkers?
At work, you have the advantage of a shared environment.
Curious, what do you mean?
You both work there. You have something in common automatically.
So I can comment on work stuff.
Exactly. Crazy day, right? Did you see that email? How's your project going?
These are work-specific openers.
Yes, and your coworkers will appreciate it because you're talking about something real to both of you.
What about social situations, like parties?
Warmly, parties are actually easier than you think.
Surprising, they are?
They are. And everyone at a party is also looking for someone to talk to. You're not alone in that.
So people want the connection.
They do. So you could say, hey, I don't know many people here. Do you mind if I hang with you? That's honest. That's brave, and people love it.
That actually works?
It works because you're being real. You're not pretending to be confident. You're being honest.
So honesty is more powerful than confidence.
Yes, people connect with honesty more than anything.
Curious, what about with people I want to impress, like someone I'm attracted to?
The rules are the same.
Doubtful, are they?
They are. You start simple, you listen, and you show genuine interest.
Slowly, so I treat them like a normal person?
You treat them like a normal person because that's what they are.
I'm the only one making them into something special or scary.
Yes, once you see them as just a person, everything gets easier.
Now, let's talk about something special for those of you learning English.
Yes, because I think English learners have a unique advantage.
They do?
They really do. When someone is learning another language and they approach you, that's brave. That's impressive.
So right away, people respect the effort.
They do. And most people want to help. They want to support someone learning.
So if I'm nervous about my English, I can actually mention it.
Absolutely. You can say, I'm learning English, so please forgive me if I make mistakes.
That works? It works, because now they understand. Now they're listening with patience and kindness. They're cheering for me, not judging me.
Exactly. And then you make a mistake and they don't care because they know you're learning.
So admitting I'm a learner actually makes conversations easier.
It does. And here's something else. When you speak to native speakers, you're practicing. You're getting better.
Every conversation is improvement.
Every single one. So approach conversations as practice, not as tests.
I can do that. I can see them as chances to improve.
And you'll improve faster than you can imagine.
Marcus, we've talked about words, but what about body language?
Oh, that's huge.
How so?
Your body speaks before your mouth does.
What do you mean?
If you're crossed arms, looking down, people think you don't want to talk.
So your body is sending messages.
Your body is constantly sending messages, so open your posture.
How?
Shoulders back, eyes up, face relaxed. Smile a little. And lean in slightly when someone is talking. That shows you're interested.
So my body shows I'm open and friendly.
Exactly. And here's the beautiful thing. When you do these physical things, your emotions follow.
They do?
Yes. When you smile, your brain releases chemicals that make you happier.
Really?
Really? So your posture doesn't just look good, it makes you actually feel more confident.
So I'm training my mind through my body.
Yes, it all works together.
Let's talk about the hard part. What if someone doesn't want to talk to me?
It will happen.
It will?
It will, not often, but sometimes.
Worried. How do I handle that?
You remember something important. Their reaction says nothing about your worth.
It doesn't?
No, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're in a rush. Maybe they're dealing with something.
So it's not about me.
It's not about you. And you know what the best response is?
What?
You smile. You say, "Have a nice day," and you move on.
That's it?
That's it. No shame, no embarrassment. You tried. You were brave.
So I'm celebrating the attempt, not the result.
Exactly. Because the attempt is what matters. The attempt is what shows courage.
And I can do this many times before I get too many rejections.
The more you try, the more success you have. It's simple math.
So I'm not risking much by trying.
You're not risking much, and you're gaining everything.
Okay, so I start conversations, but how do they become real friendships?
That's about following up.
Following up how?
If you had a good conversation with someone, you could exchange numbers or social media.
And then?
And then you reach out. A few days later, you say something like, "Hey, I really enjoyed our conversation. Let's grab coffee soon."
So I'm showing they were important enough to remember.
Exactly. And most people love that. They love knowing they made an impression.
So follow-up is how you turn a conversation into a friendship.
It is, because friendships need nurturing.
Like gardening.
Exactly like gardening. You plant the seed with a conversation, then you water it with follow-up.
I like that image.
It takes time, but it's worth it.
So I'm patient, I'm consistent, I show up.
Yes, and people will show up for you too.
So Marcus, if I could ask one more thing, what's the biggest mindset shift that helps?
That's a great question. It's this. Stop trying to be someone else.
What do you mean?
People come to conversations trying to be cool, trying to be impressive, trying to be someone they're not.
I do that.
Most people do, but it's exhausting and it doesn't work.
Why doesn't it work?
Because people can feel it. They know you're not being real.
So I can't fake it.
You can't fake it, and you don't need to.
Why not?
Because who you really are is exactly who people want to talk to.
So I'm enough, just as I am.
You're enough, just as you are, with your accent, with your mistakes, with your weirdness, with your personality.
That's really kind.
It's not kind, it's true. And the sooner you believe it, the sooner conversations become easy.
So I stop trying to impress and I start being myself.
Exactly. And the funny thing? People like you more when you're being yourself.
That's the real secret.
That's the real secret.
Okay, so people listening, what do you actually do after this episode?
Good question. Let me give you 3 action steps.
Go ahead.
Step 1. This week, start one conversation with a stranger.
Just one?
Just one. Doesn't matter where. Coffee shop, bus, park, anywhere.
And you can use one of those simple openers we talked about.
Exactly. Something about what you see around you.
Step 2?
Step 2. Practice listening more than talking. Ask one question, then listen. Don't interrupt. Don't think about what you'll say next. Just listen.
Let them talk.
Let them talk, and notice how good it feels.
And step 3?
Step 3. Celebrate yourself.
Celebrate?
Yes, you tried. You were brave. That's worth celebrating.
Warmly, even if it didn't go perfectly?
Especially if it didn't go perfectly, because that means you're learning.
I can do these 3 things.
You absolutely can, and you should.
Before we go, I want to say something. Learning to talk to anyone with confidence, it changes your life.
It really does.
It changes how you see yourself, how you see others, everything.
And it's not something you're born with, it's something you build.
Every conversation builds it. Every attempt makes you stronger.
And everyone, and I mean everyone, can do this.
Even if you're scared right now, even if you've been quiet your whole life,
You can change, you can grow, you can become someone who talks to anyone.
and you deserve to be heard.
Your voice matters, your thoughts matter, your presence matters.
So get out there. Start that conversation. Change your life.
And don't forget, subscribe to Talk, Learn, Teach.
Subscribe now. It takes 30 seconds.
Share this episode with someone who needs it.
Your friend, your coworker, your family member who's been too quiet.
Leave a comment, tell us your story.
What makes conversation hard for you? What will you try this week?
We read every comment. We're excited to hear from you.
This is Sophia
And this is Marcus.
from Talk, Learn, Teach. Thank you for being here.
Until next time, listeners, keep learning, keep practicing, keep changing the world with your words.